A wonderful day begins and ends with seeing this statue. Man, this statue is so ugly. It doesn't capture even 1/10,000th of my handsome face.
Student Su, we meet again.
Hello, Director Peng. Mu Qingming asked to meet me. Why is Director Peng Tianxing here?
Su Li, where were you yesterday? The director and I went to your place, but you weren't home.
Oh, my homeroom teacher got hurt yesterday. I went to visit him. A night patrol officer showing up is one thing, but the director himself coming is another.
Su Li, I didn't really have anything else to talk to you about today. I just wanted to invite you to join the Night Watch division.
Not this again. Didn't I make myself perfectly clear last time? Oh, a country is vast. There are countless people who want to join the Night Watch. Why are you so set on recruiting me?
I really don't get it, Su Li. So many people are fighting tooth and nail to get in. Yet here we are, practically begging him. It's just ridiculous.
Student Su, you have great talent. Only by joining the Night Watch can you reach your full potential. Our martial arts resources and intel on monsters are the absolute best.
What Peng Tianxing says is true. The Night Watch is top tier and has abundant resources. It can raise my martial arts ceiling. But my own talent is exceptional. I don't really care about that. I just want to live freely.
I know you value your freedom. The Night Watch has few restrictions. It would also give you a legitimate reason to hunt exotic beasts.
What are the responsibilities and benefits of joining the Night Watch? Most importantly, can you guarantee the intel on exotic beasts?
Night Watchers eliminate threats and protect the people. We have high authority and top-tier resources. Merits can be exchanged for guidance from masters. Our intel on exotic beasts is comprehensive. If you join, we'll prioritize giving you exotic beast missions. You won't have to do anything else. Plus, you'll get to see Mu Qingming every day, a great opportunity.
Whoa, I never expected you, Peng Tianxing, to be that kind of division chief.
I knew that trick would work.
Peng Tianxing makes a good point. With the Night Watch as my backing, things will be much easier in the future.
Ha ha ha, finally, my efforts weren't wasted. A future Grandmaster level powerhouse joining the Ancheng Night Watch division. I'll probably wake up laughing in my dreams.
Now no one will compete with me for mission targets.
Let me show you around the Night Watch. Get familiar with the place first.
Hello, 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 hello.
The Night Watch truly lives up to its reputation. Just one branch in Ancheng has so many powerful individuals. How strong must the entire Night Watch be? Qing always wears the black uniform. Zuo Niyun wears the red one. Those in gray uniforms are probably at least 7th tier in strength.
Sorry about this, Su Li. I have some urgent matters to attend to now. Ching Yeh will show you around.
Let me check. I hope this is not feeding into the system. to do with this. Check. Right, since everything is working fine, let's dive right in. So because of this feedback here, but how's the system working? So I can't even confirm. I need to know if you guys can actually hear me. It doesn't make sense that I would talk on my end. Okay, let's review our progress. Okay, that's about this. guys please actually use the comment section, interact, and leave at the very least like the stream. Goes a long way in supporting not just the channel but helping the YouTube algorithm know what to do with the stream and the channel.
Amazing.
Since it is so let's come here. even this small part here has 107. So doing this reduces the risk of crashing while still maintaining level of detail. I'll deal with these ones later. So now, from around 1 million, we have 10% or nearly 20% left. Everything else from this point on is just wrapping up more details again. So I'm even more particular because I'm using the free version, right? So once I'm done with this, I lose the progress. But I have to finish it. I can't say. I hope you understand. So this even puts me in a better situation, but it's part of the plan, right? You do no attachments to the work, right? I'm looking for that machine feel, but with also the proper lighting. And so that anime vibe. Man, let's not get carried away. seems this silhouette comprises the best. The others are just good for rendering. Maybe the ambient occlusion is making it difficult. Now, it seems my speech isn't clear enough. How it seems my speech isn't clear enough. It seems my speech isn't clear. How about now? It seems my speech. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Okay, it's better. Yeah. Yeah. I finally get to test some of these textures. Naturally, we have that place. Okay, there's not much you can do here. Hello. You're welcome. This is probably my second or third day working on this. Just because my internet is nothing wrong with the internet itself, just the electricity. And I don't have a backup power, so every time it goes off, I have to restart the screen.
they haven't seen anything. That is their Minister of Justice. And I'm asking myself, when people were on the streets maltreating other African citizens, nationals, where was the Minister of Justice?
One artist did reach out to me to say all her gigs were cancelled on the continent. She was mad. This is an income lost by a South African.
Go back to your country. Go back to your country, but you want to take videos with Burna Boy. Burna Boy went too good. Now, if it was me, I would have declined. I would say, go back to your Tyler. I'm not taking any pictures with you. Hello, beautiful people. My name is VJ Parker Rich. This is your favorite channel right here. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Today, we are here to talk to you about some important things happening on the continent we call Africa. That is where we find ourselves. When you come to West Africa, we are located in Ghana, in the capital of Ghana, called Accra. But we are broadcasting across the world. People are watching us all the way in Nigeria, in US, in UK, in South Africa, just name it. And we are here to tell the world the truth and nothing but the truth. You see, I keep telling people that you will not commit a crime and imagine or think that you go unpunished. In every evil thing that every man do, he will live after them. So there is no way you will commit crime and think you will not be punished. And the repercussions and the atrocities and the storm has started. The South African Minister of Creatives, or whatever they call, I don't want to even mention it because it's not really important to me like that. Yes, they've started crying that South African musicians, people will book them for international gigs, international shows. They have cancelled the show. Read my lips. South African musicians that have been booked across the world, all these shows, they cancel them one by one, Yes. And in the minister's statement, she made it clear. And she said it was a she. So, of course, we know that it is Tyler. She's their biggest export. Apart from Tyler, who want to watch any South African artist from where? Who? And so let's listen to the Minister of Creatives. Let's listen to her. Minister of Justice, sorry.
One of the areas that we would have to look at as well, that has come to my attention as well, it's our artists. Majority of South African artists perform on the continent, and many of them are seeing their gigs being cancelled. So that's another impact of the work, because they benefit quite a lot. They perform performance events and everything. So they are receiving a thing. We've not been able to work together. So we'll definitely work together with arts and culture to understand the impact for them to get. But one artist did reach out to me to say all her gigs were cancelled on the continent. She was mad. This is an income lost by a South African. So the brand does get affected, and that's why part of what we are doing is to explain that South Africans are not xenophobic. South Africans are not calling, and we are also saying to South Africans, let's be responsible.
You see, telling me that South Africans are not xenophobic, and the next moment I get online and I see a video of Jacinta. You see, you tell me that South Africans are not xenophobic, but the next moment I go online and I see a video of Jacinta. How am I supposed to believe these things that you are saying, Minister of Justice? You tell me that South Africans are not xenophobic, but I get online and I see the video of the human hunter, Fakel, a very foolish, approved human being on the soil of South Africa. Tell me why. You see, the thing of start, the experience and the pain South Africans are going to endure, it has not even started. You guys thought it was a joke, hating on your fellow black people. You see, when you cover it up over the illegal immigrant and this morning I was just driving down my street and I met a Togolese guy. He was selling caps. And I'm sure he's not legally living in Ghana. And you see, when South Africa started behaving like they are a land on their own and they do not need anybody's help, and they do, you see, the fact that your people do not travel much as other nationality, it doesn't mean that you are not being supported by other countries. I'm sure South Africans are very much aware that they are gold company in Ghana. We will not renew or extend their lease. I'm sure they know it. And when we do it, you will feel the pain. You will go like, it's somebody's business and it doesn't affect us directly. You see, the fact that some of these South Africans are not even feeling the pain is that they are not even paying taxes. Their taxes they are paying is basic. Few taxes. Now these people that are pumping money into your economy, they are sources with the cut down. You remember the Iranian and American war, when oil ships couldn't pass through a particular place? Yes, that's exactly what is going to happen. You see, we've gone past the age that we have to go and fight with weapons. So these days, social media alone can fight wars. And so they haven't seen anything. That is their Minister of Justice. And I'm asking myself, when people were on the streets maltreating other African citizens, nationals, where was the Minister of Justice? Are you telling me that this Fakel guy is powerful than the Minister of Justice in South Africa? If we are meant to understand that Jacinta is powerful than you people that have been elected and voted into office, they are powerful than you, then we would understand why they have been given the power to fool. Of course, Tyler, I'm praying that all his shows will be cancelled. And you see, there is something people did not notice. And I keep on saying, Nigerians then get some big hearts, eh? After all these treatments that South Africans are giving to Nigerians, Burna Boy, after performing with Shakira, he went to the backstage and these South African backup singers of Tyler, they decided to take pictures with him. He puts my video on, let me tell them no video. See, Tyler's backup singer, after all this humiliation that South Africans are giving to Nigerian, Burna Boy, the giant of Africa, he went to the opening ceremony to perform with Shakira. And this Tyler's backup singer, they saw their dream musician, Burna Boy. Now show them the video. And they were so happy. Go back to your country, go back to your country, go back to your country. Go back to your country, but you want to take videos. Go back to your country, go back to your country, but you want to take videos with Burna Boy. Burna Boy went too good. Now, if it was me, I would have declined. I would say, go back to your Tyler. I'm not taking any pictures with you. You see, Omali sang about Africa unites. We've never been united. It took only Mexico to put the entire Africa together. What is wrong with us? Only you one country. You have only just 3 foolish people, Fakel, Jacinta, and some other people. And it's obvious that these things, South Africans have now started saying that it's being sponsored by people. If it's being sponsored by people, look for those people. These 3 people should be arrested. How would you allow an entire country's image to be dented by these few people? Because of what? Get serious. And I'm really happy for the things that is happening. Any South African artist that will be booked in any part of the world should be cancelled. Even in their safaris, their animals. If they book them for anywhere, even in the animals kingdom, all other foreign national animals should boycott South African animals. Everything about South Africa should be boycotted. Me, for example, I used to have a t-shirt that they've written South Africa in it. I've stopped wearing it because it doesn't make sense to me. How can a human being like me wear a South African shirt? It makes me a complete animal if I keep doing that. Because these people are not giving us reason. And you see, the mere fact that they have no regrets and they still come to the comment section to defend the bullshit they are doing, that they are fixing your country. You are fixing your country. Let Tyler perform in South Africa. How many of your people can pay South Africa? Can pay Tyler? No wonder they are not booking any artists, because me, why would I book an artist like Nasty C? Big head, no sense. You have colleagues in Ghana, you have colleagues in Nigeria. They are doing these things in your country. Come out and voice out and condemn what they are doing. Nasty C is sitting down unconcerned. And you expect a Nigerian event organizer, a promoter, even in US, to book Nasty C? Hell no. The only artist we would have booked, and I know he would have spoke sense, in South Africa is Lucky Dube, and you people knew that he was the only wise musician, so you quiet him, you killed him. Evil people, that you kill your own musician thinking that he's a different person from a different country. It will get to a point saying people will not even fly South African Airways, and you will know that South African Airways was bringing more money into South Africa. Their time will come, people will stop subscribing to DSTV, and you will know that DSTV was bringing more revenue to South Africa. MTN, the thing they pay me, say Ghana, the entire population, they rely on MTN. And it will take a very long time. This should give us the sense that we should nationalize our own thing. It should, like, if Ghanaian network was the #1 network here, we would have, like we, damn, go back to your country long ago. You understand? For the good people there, it's easy for us. Now it's our own resources. We have Ibrahim Ahama, who can deal with the gold. Why should we stress ourselves? So please, in case if you hear anybody booking any South African artist anywhere, even in the moon, tell them that they are not fit to perform them. Make sure they cancel them. We will cancel them in everything. Even let me make this controversial statement. Even prostitutes around the world, if any man approaches you that he wants to have sex with you, and he says he's South African, tell him to go back and sleep with your woman. Yes. Because other vaginas is for other nationals. South Africans should only taste the vagina they know, not ours. Of course, they don't even have the money. Recently, I came across a video. You see, every blessed day, something stupid comes out from that country, and that's where I rest my case. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think it is good for people to boycott their artists? If it's good, let me know in the comment section. And if you know any South African musician that he's been booked anywhere, you've seen the fly, not just the musicians, the comedians, every worker from South Africa, nobody should patronize their services. It's as simple as that. You said you have it all in your country, do it there. I was sitting in an aircraft that a South African is flying it. Never. Too rich.
reporter in Korea asks people a simple question. What would you do with 100 million won? The answers are all polite and predictable, so she changes the question. What if you were the richest person in the world? One woman says she'd need to know where the money came from before she could even answer. The scene cuts to a TV studio, where that same interview is playing on a monitor. A journalist is interviewing the man who is in fact the richest person in the world, and he's incredibly young. She brings up the popular theory that he can see the future, and that's how he built his fortune. The man on screen says that would be impossible, but internally, he knows that's a lie, because right in front of him he can see a shaman, her magic swirling in the air. He's the only one who can perceive it, so for the cameras he just plays it off as being a lucky investor, nothing more. And then, the whole thing turns out to be a bizarre dream. Kang Jin-hoo wakes up in his real life, wondering why he keeps dreaming about an eagle he saw back in the army. He's just been discharged, he's unemployed, and he lives with his mother in a semi-basement apartment. Life used to be better. His father ran a decent business and provided for them, but those days are long gone. Later he visits his friend, Oh Tae-kyu, who's busy showing off his collection of action figures. The two have been close since high school. Jin-hoo tries to stay positive, saying that even without money he got into a prestigious university and plans to land a good job after graduation. He even thanks Tae-kyu for keeping his mom company last Christmas when he couldn't come home from the military. Seeing his friend is down, Tae-kyu decides to share some good news to cheer him up. He recently found the password to a Bitcoin account he'd lost a while back. Jin-hoo remembers that incident well. Tae-kyu cried like a baby after losing the password, especially since he'd sold his character in the game Rutnia to buy the crypto in the first place. Tae-kyu says he found the password on a random slip of paper. As of yesterday, the coin was trading at 1,121. Jin-hoo does some quick math and figures that must be a pretty nice sum by now. His friend confirms it. The total value in the account is 13 billion won. Tae-kyu admits he could barely believe it himself, but he swears he isn't lying. The only catch is he can't access the money yet. He moved it all onto an exchange platform, figuring the price would just keep climbing. Jin-hoo is sick with envy, kicking himself for not taking that game more seriously. But then a thought occurs to him. He and Tae-kyu used to play together. He reminds his friend that Tae-kyu was the one who convinced him to sell his character too. So naturally, he's entitled to a piece of the fortune. Just then, Jin-hoo sees it again. The eagle from his dreams. Only this time, he's wide awake. He has no idea why it's here. The eagle flies closer, and then it's clear this is no ordinary bird. Its spiritual nature becomes visible, but only to Jin-hoo. His shocked reaction completely freaks out his friend, who sees nothing. Ignoring him, Jin-hoo asks Tae-kyu what he knows about Mountain Hill. Tae-kyu is confused. That's the name of the crypto exchange he's using. He asks how Jin-hoo could possibly know that. Jin-hoo just had a vision of Mountain Hill collapsing. He can't explain it, but he knows the eagle is the reason. He starts taking this seriously. If this vision is real, his friend is about to lose everything. He tells Tae-kyu to sell all his crypto, right now. It's not going to go up in value. Tae-kyu is obviously rattled, but Jin-hoo insists he can't explain yet and begs his friend to just trust him. Tae-kyu says he already had his sister open a dollar account for cashing out, so he'll use that to sell. But he makes it clear that once this is over, he expects a very convincing explanation. As Tae-kyu gets to work, Jin-hoo sees the eagle vanish. He takes it as a sign he did the right thing. Still, he has no clue what's actually going on. A moment later, his friend lets out a gasp. The Mountain Hill server just went down. He managed to sell everything just in the nick of time. That's all the proof Jin-hoo needs. He wasn't hallucinating. The eagle was real, and it was a warning. Just to be sure, Tae-kyu reports that the platform server is back online, but every single account has been wiped clean. He turns to Jin-hoo and asks if he had something to do with this. Jin-hoo is just as confused as his friend, but he figures the truth is his only option. He tells Tae-kyu he thinks he might have just gained the ability to see the future. A year ago, Kang Jin-hoo was still in the army, running a training exercise. That's when he saw the strange eagle for the first time. Its sudden appearance put him on edge. Weirder still, he was the only one who saw it. None of his squad mates noticed a thing, which only made Jin-hoo more unnerved. Then came the warning. An explosion was imminent. He saw a mortar being prepped for another shot and figured that had to be it. He didn't fully trust the premonition, but his survival instinct screamed at him to take cover. And because he listened, he was the one who walked away from the blast. Back in the present, he's telling this story to his friend Tae-kyu, who just chalks it up to dumb luck. But Jin-hoo insists that without the eagle's warning, he would have ended up just like the others, not in one piece. He adds that the army doctor dismissed the eagle as a false memory, a side effect of the trauma. Tae-kyu points out that this has happened twice now. That's not a coincidence. Jin-hoo agrees, but he's surprised his friend is buying it so easily. Tae-kyu's explanation is simple. He's watched too much anime to be surprised by anything. With that settled, Jin-hoo moves on to more important business. He wants his cut of the fortune Tae-kyu just made. He reminds his friend that he sold his game character to fund that investment, so a share of the profits is right rightfully his. Taikyu says he'd love to, but he can't pay him yet. The problem is taxes. Jinhu, an economics student, dryly asks if he's planning on opening a tax haven. Turns out yes. Taikyu explains his sister told him the income tax on his Bitcoin profits would be in the billions if he declared it. So to get around that, he set up a shell company in the US called OTK Company, a literal tax haven. He figures it's only a matter of time before he can quit working and just live off his investments. Jinhu knows it's not that simple, but either way, he wants his money. Taikyu promises to pay him what he's owed, which puts Jinhu at ease. A little while later, he checks his bank account and sees a transfer from Taikyu. It's only a partial payment for now. Taikyu promised to send the rest once all the tax haven bureaucracy is sorted out. Still, Kang Jinhu leaves the bank with a smile. He finally has enough money to help his mother and treat himself, so he heads to a shopping mall. As soon as he arrives, he spots a commotion. Some woman is making a scene, screaming at an employee for supposedly stepping on her shoes. The store manager tries to de-escalate, telling the employee to just apologize to the customer, but Kang Jinhu recognizes the employee. It's his mother. Kang Jinhu is horrified to see his mother being humiliated. All this time, he thought she had an office job. She'd never told him the truth about her work. He steps in just before she's forced to her knees. He wants to know what could possibly be so serious that it requires someone to kneel and beg for forgiveness. The woman causing the scene demands to know who he is to interfere. Kang Jinhu tells her he's the cleaner's son. His mother tries to hide her face, but he makes it clear he isn't ashamed of her at all. The rich woman is taken aback, but she's not about to back down. She claims the mop touched her foot, and that's why she demanded an apology. Jinhu can't believe she'd humiliate someone over something so ridiculous. Annoyed, she snaps that her shoes cost 600,000 won, far more than a cleaner could ever afford to replace. So Jinhu pulls out 600,000 won on the spot. He tells her to apologize to his mother, take the cash, and leave. The woman realizes she's being filmed and decides not to make the situation any worse for herself. She forces out an apology and immediately snatches the money. Before they leave, Jinhu has a word with the store manager. He explains that since he paid for the shoes, they now belong to him, and he wants the manager to collect them from the woman. If he doesn't have them by tomorrow, he'll be filing a report for theft. And with that, he walks away, leaving the woman absolutely fuming. Outside the mall, his mother is worried. She says she has to go back and fix things because she needs that job. Kang Jinhu just pulls her into a hug. He tells her she's gotten thinner, and that she's never working there again. From now on, he'll be taking care of the family's finances. Proud. She says he's really grown up. The two of them head to a restaurant. Jinhu explains he's been making good money with Bitcoin, so she doesn't have to worry about their finances anymore, but she refuses to take his money. She wants him to focus on his own future and use it to finish college. He insists on helping, saying the first step is to move. He's sure her persistent cough is because of where they live. Even as she protests, Jinhu is determined to use his money to give her a better life. She sighs, telling him he's just as stubborn as his father. Just then, Jinhu gets a call from a friend. It's Taikyu, and he says it's an emergency. Apparently, his sister is back in Korea, and he needs Jinhu's help. Sometime later, a flashy car pulls up to a luxury hotel. Inside, Kang Jinhu is dying of secondhand embarrassment over his friend's taste in vehicles. Regardless, they head into the building, and right away, they run into Oh Hyun-ju. She says she's surprised to see Kang Jinhu, admitting it's been a while. They all sit down to catch up. Oh Hyun-ju tells Jinhu that once he graduates, there's a job waiting for him at Golden Gate. He agrees it's a good offer, but he can tell something is worrying her. She brings up the Mountain Hill bankruptcy and asks if her brother is doing okay. He reassures her, explaining he managed to sell off everything just before the disaster. Hearing that, his sister seems much more relieved. She then hands him the contact information for the Golden Gate branch manager in Gangnam. She tells him that for any domestic transfers he needs to make, it's best to go through this person first. Oh Hyun-ju explains she's in town for an audit and will be around for the next 10 days. Just then, her phone rings, and she excuses herself to take the call. With her gone, Jinhu asks his friend why he was so reluctant to meet his sister alone. Oh Taekyu admits her personality is just a little intimidating. When she returns, Oh Hyun-ju apologizes, saying the call was important. Her brother guesses it was about the oil company, and she confirms he's right. The results from the OPEC meeting, she says, are being announced tomorrow. The moment he hears that, Jinhu sees the Spirit Eagle again. It's here to give him another prediction. The vision is clear, an agreement to cut oil production. He asks Oh Hyun-ju what the OPEC meeting is about. She tells him it's about a production cut, exactly what he just saw. She explains that gold and oil are the world's true assets. Countries all over the globe want them, especially the US, which is the biggest buyer despite not being a top producer. But the development of shale gas and oil changed the market, causing a revolution. The problem with shale, however, is that it's expensive to produce. The forecast is that more than half the companies in the business will go bankrupt. That's why these emergency meetings happen. Sometimes everything has to be decided in a hurry. Trying not to reveal what he knows, Jinhu suggests suggests the deal Oh Hyun-ju is waiting for might not go as expected. When she asks why he thinks that, he just says it's a gut feeling. Oh Hyun-ju is impressed, but reminds him that intuition and information are two very different things. After a while, they say their goodbyes. In the car, Jin-Hoo realizes that if his prediction is right, the price of an oil barrel is about to shoot through the roof. He could buy oil in advance and make a massive profit. All his predictions have been right so far, so he knows this one is too. The only problem is cash. After all his recent spending, he's only got $275 in his account. He has to wonder if investing everything he has is the right move. Oh Taikyu, meanwhile, says he noticed Jin-Hoo acting strange while talking to his sister. He asks if he had another one of his visions. Jin-Hoo admits his friend's intuition is pretty good. He tells him what he learned about the OPEC agreement. Taikyu immediately understands the play. They need to buy oil, but he has one very practical question. Where are they supposed to store it? Later, at Taikyu's house, the two are studying the oil market. Kang Jin-Hoo explains that crude oil isn't just for fuel. It's a raw material used by countless industries. Taikyu sends over the rest of the money he owed him. Jin-Hoo says the next step is to buy oil on the New York Stock Exchange. But since he can't be absolutely certain, he only wants to put in $300,000 for now. Taikyu says he's in too, but he's betting $10 million. Kang Jin-Hoo points out that this is an incredibly high-stakes gamble, but his friend has total faith in his predictions and doesn't see how they can possibly lose. In that case, Jin-Hoo tells him to do as he pleases. He, on the other hand, is going to be more cautious. He figures if it works out, the profit will be solid, and if it fails, the loss won't be that big. There's no reason to back down now. He places the orders. All that's left is to wait for the OPEC meeting to end. Kang Jin-Hoo finds them a 2-bedroom villa for $120 million. It's recently renovated and clean, and his mom is thrilled with the space and the sunlight. Jin-Hoo thinks about how every previous move meant less space, and some of his father's things always got lost along the way. But this time, his mom managed to save a box of things she couldn't bear to part with. Her dream had always been to own a home. His dad had even bought a plot of land to build on, right around the time Jin-Hoo was born. She wishes his father could see what their son has become after working so hard his whole life. Jin-Hoo points out they're not done yet. They still need things like a washing machine and a fridge. He tells his mom to take at least 3 months off work to finally get some proper rest. To that end, he hands her an account with 100 million won deposited, telling her to buy whatever she wants. But she's not happy. She scolds him for just throwing money around now that he has it. She insists she has her own savings and tells him to invest in himself instead. Jin-Hoo won't take no for an answer. He tells her if she doesn't want to spend it, she can just hold on to it for him in case he needs it later. Of course, he knows that's not going to happen. He's set for at least the next 20 years. A little while later, Taikyu stops by with a housewarming meal. As they eat, Taikyu drops the news. Mountain Hill went bankrupt. The hacking damage was in the billions, and it completely wiped out the brokerage. Every single one of their investors is broke. Taikyu explains that if it were a bank, the government might step in, but with crypto there's no safety net, and he's sure it's no coincidence that Jin-Hoo saw it coming. He's convinced Jin-Hoo has some kind of crisis-activated superpower, and he's even come up with a name for it, Oracle's Eye. Jin-Hoo is skeptical. He says if his OPEC prediction also comes true, he'll consider the theory. Otherwise, he's dropping it. Taikyu wants more. If the prediction is right, Jin-Hoo has to let him use the name Oracle's Eye. The next day, they're at Taikyu's place, waiting for the results. Jin-Hoo is a wreck, not at all certain his vision will pan out. His panic only gets worse as he watches the charts, seeing his losses climb. Seeing his friend about to have a meltdown, Taikyu suggests they play a game to get their minds off it. Jin-Hoo tries, but he can't focus. The numbers are just rattling around in his head. He makes a stupid move in the game, earning a scolding from his friend. And then, with all the stress piling up, Kang Jin-Hoo just passes out. He's woken up a short time later by Taikyu. The results are in. A terrified Jin-Hoo looks at the screen and sees his prediction came true after all. He tells his friend to check the account to see how much they made. Taikyu runs the numbers. Together, they've cleared 800 million won. But for Taikyu, the money is secondary. The real win is that he was right all along. His friend has a superpower, and now he gets to call Kang Jin-Hoo Oracle's Eye whenever he wants. His friend is convinced he has a superpower, but Kang Jin-Hoo isn't impressed. Compared to flying or super strength, his ability feels pretty useless. Then again, he figures you can replace those powers with machines. But predicting the future? Not even the most advanced AI can do that. Taikyu starts listing the possibilities. Elections, sports, natural disasters, and more. He calls it an awakening, a power that manifested in an emergency. But Kang Jin-Hoo points out a major flaw. It doesn't work on command. If it did, He'd have cleaned out a casino by now. His friend suggests a new theory. Maybe it only triggers for financial matters, since it happened when they were talking about Bitcoin. Jin-Hoo counters that the first time was the mortar explosion. Taekyu says that could be a life or death exception, but then he remembers the news. That explosion was part of a huge military corruption scandal. The faulty mortar caused the manufacturer's stock to tank and their defense contracts to evaporate, so even that was tied to finance. Jin-Hoo has to admit he's not wrong, but argues that almost everything in the world is connected to finance anyway. That gives Taekyu an idea. He offers to invest all his capital in his friend, as long as Jin-Hoo uses his ability to guide the investments. It's a tempting offer, but Kang Jin-Hoo is worried about being on the hook for any losses. Taekyu says he knows the risks and is willing to take the bet. Still, the protagonist isn't sold. There's no proof his power is 100% accurate. It could just be a random fluke. He figures it's more likely based on probability, a high chance of success, but always a margin for error. Without that certainty, it's pointless. Winning big one day just to lose it all the next isn't a plan, but Taekyu won't let it go, telling his friend to just trust him, and to trust himself. Kang Jin-Hoo is still reluctant. The conversation is cut short by a phone call. An old friend he hasn't seen since enlisting invites him out for drinks. Jin-Hoo says he has something to do but will get back to him. A little while later, he shows up at the bar. He meets up with his old crew, with one request: no talking about the army. A couple of freshmen, Wang Ji-hye and Xinyu Ri, are there too. With one friend, Gi Hong, running late, they decide to get started without him. Someone asks if Jin-Hoo is planning to return to college, and he says he's thinking about it. They keep drinking, waiting for their senior to arrive. Finally, Jung Gi-hong walks in. He's happy to see Kang Jin-Hoo out of the military, and the two start to catch up. Jung Gi-hong works in the financial sector and mentions things are shaky, with a lot of jobs being reallocated. Jin-Hoo asks if he's feeling insecure about his job at the central bank. Gi-hong admits it's tough even for veterans, and he's thinking of moving to private capital. He says Korea's big problem is having great entrepreneurs but not enough investors, leaving the country in need of someone who can compete with foreign capital. In the middle of this, Xinyu Ri takes a call. She explains she was supposed to meet her friend Siona, but since she came out drinking with them, she just invited her friend to join. The name makes Kang Jin-Hoo freeze. The other guys immediately scold the freshman, who has no idea why everyone is upset. And right on cue, Siona herself walks in. She stops short when she sees Kang Jin-Hoo. It turns out they used to be a couple, and this is the first time they've seen each other since the breakup. Sometime later, Kang Jin-Hoo runs into his ex-girlfriend Siona at a coffee shop. He's surprised. It's been 2 years since they last saw each other. He cuts right to it and asks if she's still with that senior. The guy in question is Ko Jun-hyung, the third son of GH Constructions. Jin-Hoo had heard rumors after he enlisted that Siona was dating him. She confirms it, but she doesn't look happy about it. Jin-Hoo notes how much she's changed. The insecure, less expressive person he knew is gone. She apologizes for breaking up with him, but Jin-Hoo says it's in the past. Too much has happened since then. That's when Siona tells him she still has feelings for him, explaining that she always felt she could trust him. She admits leaving him for a rich guy was selfish, but she did it for her future. When he presses her, she says it was all to achieve her dream, to be successful, and with that, she leaves. Watching her go sends Jin-Hoo reflecting on his own life. He remembers losing his father and not even being able to afford a proper funeral because they'd lost their house. Siona breaking up with him in the middle of all that was a massive blow. With no other options, he joined the army, leaving his mother alone to carry the burden. But now, thanks to Taekyu, he's recovered billions of won and made huge profits from his own investments. Still, something bothers him. He has 13 billion won in his hands, but he doesn't feel like he's achieved anything real. What does success even mean? As he's lost in thought, the spirit eagle appears again, but this time it's different. The creature feels more intense than before. Suddenly, Jin-Hoo is hit with a strange vision, and he understands that just like last time, what he saw is destined to happen. Later, Kang Jin-Hoo goes to Taikyu's house. He wakes his friend up and declares that together, they're going to achieve true success. The next morning, Jin-Hoo wakes up with a massive hangover. Taekyu explains that he showed up drunk and passed out. Jin-Hoo can only recall fragments of the night before, the eagle's vision, and making some kind of vow with his friend. Jin-Hoo points out that Taekyu never really invested. He just got lucky buying crypto at the right time. Jin-Hoo, on the other hand, has made some real, albeit small, investments. He admits he only put in 1 million won and lost half of it, which is why he stopped. Taekyu agrees his knowledge is limited to 1 year of college, but he also knows he's sitting on a fortune most people will never see in their lifetime. Jin-Hoo explains the advantage that gives him. To make 100 million from 10 million, you need a 1,000% return. But with 10 billion, you only need a 1% return. That's the power of his friend's capital. Taekyu is ready to start, saying it sounds fun, almost like a game. The protagonist disagrees. For him, investing requires his powers, and he has no idea when or how the Eagle will grant him another vision. He needs to solve that problem before they can continue. For the past few days, he's been reading economics articles and tracking large-cap stocks. He's starting to get a better feel for the market, but the Eagle hasn't appeared once, leading him to believe it only triggers for huge events, like the OPEC deal. Ever the optimist, says they should at least get a contract ready. He learned a few things from his sister and suggests a 50-50 profit split. The protagonist is fine with that. In the middle of their discussion, he gets a call. It's Ching Yeh, the freshman from the group date. A little shyly, she makes an unexpected request. She asks Kang Jinhoo if he wants to get coffee. The next day, Jinhoo goes to meet Ching Yeh. She thanks him for accepting her invitation, and he notes that she looks like a pop idol. He tries to play it cool, saying he only agreed to meet because he was already nearby at a friend's house, then asks why she invited him. Ching Yeh says she wanted to apologize. She feels responsible for Siona crashing the party and making things awkward. She adds that she's happy he's returning to college since it means they can see each other more. Jinhoo is a little taken aback. It's not every day a girl this pretty is so direct with him, but then she asks for a favor. She wants to buy a new phone but doesn't know anything about them, and she needs his help. So much for her being interested. He was just her free tech support for the day. Regardless, they head to an electronics store. While Ching Yeh is looking at phones, Jinhoo thinks he should probably get a new one too. The moment he touches a smartphone on display, the Spirit Eagle appears. It gives him a simple message. This model will be discontinued. Jinhoo doesn't understand the warning at first. When Ching Yeh asks what he's looking at, he just plays it off. Inside, though, he's relieved. It's confirmation that his powers haven't disappeared. A little later, Ching Yeh leaves the store with her new purchase. Jinhoo can't resist telling her that her new phone will probably be discontinued soon. She asks how he would know that. He immediately backpedals, claiming it was just a joke. Then he makes a quick exit, saying he has an urgent appointment. Ching Yeh is left disappointed, since she was hoping they could get lunch. Jinhoo, meanwhile, is rushing straight to his friend's house to share what he's learned. He knows Taekyu bought the exact same phone and wants to warn him as soon as possible. Taekyu explains the market situation. Samsung sells a huge range of smartphones, but Apple currently leads the high-end sector. To compete, Samsung developed this top-tier model, the L6, and it's been selling extremely well in Korea. This just makes Jinhoo more confused. Why would a bestseller be discontinued? Taekyu figures it must be a patent dispute, since the two companies are constantly fighting in court. But Jinhoo points out that in those cases, the losing company just pays a fine and moves on. The two of them spend the whole night trying to figure out the real reason. The answer comes screaming in the next morning. Taekyu wakes Jinhoo up, yelling that his smartphone exploded while it was charging. He's had the phone for less than a week, and it's already defective. And in that moment, they both realize they've found the answer they were looking for all night. A little later, they do some digging online and discover plenty of other people are having the same problem. Taekyu realizes Samsung is trying to keep a lid on it, paying people off to stay quiet. He also figures the defect is more common than it seems. Since the phone sold so well, the number of cases is only going to grow. The protagonist is now certain a recall is coming. The only question is when and how to time the investment. The next day, Taekyu gets a visitor. It's a tech from Samsung sent over after he reported the issue. They also offer him compensation if he agrees not to post about it online. This confirms all of Taikyu's suspicions about the cover-up. At this rate, the phone will be discontinued very soon. The protagonist calculates that if the phone is discontinued, the company will lose 40% of its operating profit. That means it's not a time to buy stocks, but to sell. The problem is, they don't own any shares to sell. But Taekyu has an idea: short selling. He explains the concept. You borrow shares, sell them high, then buy them back when the price crashes. The difference is your profit. The protagonist thinks it over. Even with a recall, the stock would probably only drop 30% at most. With the 13 billion they have, the return wouldn't be that spectacular. But he has an idea to make even more. For that, he'll need an expert in derivatives. Taekyu suggests asking his sister, since she's a master at this stuff. But the protagonist, Jinhoo, knows Hyunju would not be happy to find out what they're up to. So he suggests someone else, Park Sang-yeop, the president of the Real Investment Club. Whatever people say about the guy, there's no denying he's a genius. Park Sang-yeop grew up in Australia, but was so smart he got into a top Korean university for mathematics. While there, he started watching a small company called QMK Tech, noticing their market predictions were unusually accurate. He didn't hesitate. He took all the money he had, including his rent, and bought their stock. As a result, he had to crash on a friend's couch for 2 weeks. But then the stock exploded, and in 2 months, Park Sang-yeop was a millionaire. After that, he made one correct call after another, and started his own investment group. That's how Jinhoo first met him. Back in the present, Jinhoo and Taekyu meet with Park Sang-yeop. During the conversation, Park Sang-yeop casually mentions he lost lost a lot of money recently. He's in debt and has to work to cover his expenses. Jinhu notes that most people would be in a full-blown panic. Park Sang-yop, however, discusses his debt with a strange sense of calm. Getting straight to the point, Jinhu says he wants to learn more about buying stocks, specifically the difference between futures and derivatives. Yop explains that futures are simple contracts. Two parties agree to trade a set amount of something at a fixed price on a future date. Win or lose, they're both locked in. Derivatives, on the other hand, are options with an expiration date. There's a buyer and a seller, and the buyer has the right to choose what to do. While it seems the seller is at a disadvantage, they actually have a higher win rate in the market, so they set the terms very carefully. He gives an example of a put option with a low chance of success. If a buyer invested $1 billion, the payout could be as high as $9 trillion. But Park Sang-yop says that almost never happens, because bad news is far more common than good. When something bad does happen, the price of put options can shoot up hundreds of times, and the seller is legally required to pay out. That's all Jinhu needs to hear. He lays out his plan. He's going to short Samsung's stock. He tells Yeyop that their newest phone is about to be discontinued because of a major manufacturing flaw. Park Sang-yop asks if he has any proof. Jinhu can't reveal his powers and offers no real evidence, so Park Sang-yop warns him not to play around with this. A gamble like that could bankrupt him. Jinhu thanks him for the advice and they part ways. He now has all the pieces he needs to put his plan into action. At his friend's place, Jinhu lays out the plan. 70% in put options, the rest in short selling. He explains that while the explosion reports seem like isolated incidents, he's noticed a disturbing pattern. But for now, the market is completely ignoring the problem. Most investors are calm. After all, there's been no official news to spook them. So Kang Jinhu starts gaming out the possibilities. If the stock rises more than expected, he'll take a loss. But if the hardware problems are confirmed, everything changes. After running the scenarios, he decides to buy the put options. His entire bet hinges on the stock price falling. Even with the uncertainty, Kang Jinhu commits a huge chunk of their capital. Now all they can do is wait. The days drag on. At first, nothing goes according to plan. The company's stock just keeps climbing. Their new devices hit the international market, and the initial reception is fantastic. Kang Jinhu's nerves start to fray. He can feel the clock ticking. If his prediction is wrong, they lose everything. The situation is causing him serious anxiety. The weight of that responsibility is starting to crush him. Even Taikyu, who's trying to stay optimistic, can't hide his growing concern. Then finally, something happens. A major story starts to break. Reports of exploding phones are back, and this time, it's not one or two cases. It's a flood. The company quickly makes an official announcement blaming faulty batteries, but the incidents keep happening. The situation is rapidly spinning out of their control. Finally, they're forced into an extreme measure, a massive, worldwide recall. The two friends are stunned as they watch the news. Millions of devices are being collected. Samsung is losing a fortune on every returned phone, but their plan is to fix the batteries and sell the refurbished units. After the recall announcement, the stock, which had been dipping, actually recovers, closing down only 1.5%. To calm the markets further, the company announces a new shareholder return policy, including quarterly dividends. It's a crisis management play that completely undermines Jinhu's strategy. His friend isn't worried though. He's sure Kang's prediction will still come true, but Jinhu himself is starting to doubt his own ability, wondering if his luck has finally run out. Worried sick about the losses, Jinhu can't sleep, just tossing and turning all night. His friend eventually wakes up from the noise and suggests they grab a beer to clear their heads. While they drink, Jinhu figures he only got one thing right. The Samsung device is going to be discontinued. He asks Taikyu if he blames him for the bad call. Taikyu says no. He's the one who pushed to get into investing in the first place. Besides, he still believes his friend's prediction will pan out. It's just a matter of time. Jinhu doesn't share his optimism. A week passes after the recall announcement. Samsung stores are packed, both with people returning defective phones and people buying new ones. Their stock numbers start to climb again, fast, and as they do, Jinhu's losses just get bigger. The short sales he made cushioned the blow slightly, but it's not enough. Taikyu has lost nearly everything he made from Bitcoin. Jinhu knows that even with the little he has stashed away, this is going to be ugly. He thinks he should have just listened to Park Sang-yop, but Taikyu says he has no regrets. He's been broke before, he can handle it again. Far away, a plane runs into trouble. A smartphone has just exploded mid-flight, endangering everyone on board. Worse, the phone was a replacement model issued after the recall. This proves the problem was never the battery, as the manufacturer claimed. Back with our guys, Jinhu wakes up with a start. He had a strange dream about the Eagle. He tells his friend that in 4 days, something huge is going to happen to Samsung's stock. After waking from that terrifying nightmare, Kang Jinhu is still on edge. The vision felt too real to just ignore. He's convinced it wasn't a normal dream, so he and Taikyu start digging into the Samsung case all over again. Right away, things don't add up. The company officially blamed it all on defective batteries, but certain details still bother Jinhu. New reports of explosions are still popping up, even after the company did a full battery replacement. The airplane incident makes headlines, and soon, airlines are banning the device on all their flights. With their stock price in free fall, Samsung executives call an emergency meeting. The vice president takes charge, admitting to the room that they still don't know the real cause of the problem. The other directors debate what to do. Some argue for just continuing the recall, but others insist that won't be enough to fix this. That's when the VP brings up a risky idea, starting with a philosophical concept, the ship of Theseus. He explains the old thought experiment. If you replace every part of a ship one by one, is it still the same ship? The idea is that even with constant changes, the essence remains. The comparison leaves most of the room confused, so he spells it out. Despite all the changes they've made over the years, the company is still, at its core, CO Sung. But if they lose the public's trust completely, no amount of change will be enough to save them. Lost money can be recovered. A destroyed reputation is another story. And in that moment, they make an extreme decision. The company will completely halt all sales and exchanges of the L6. A spokesperson delivers the news to the media. When Kang Jin-Hoo hears it, he can't believe it. His prediction came true. The phone has been completely discontinued. The fallout for the manufacturer is catastrophic. Estimates put the loss at 50 trillion, worse than a financial crisis nearly 2 decades ago. Before this, Samsung had been accumulating put options through Golden Gate, but the impact on the Korean stock market was so severe that even Golden Gate took a considerable hit. But an analyst reports something strange. Someone bought Samsung shares through Golden Gate right before the accident, and they weren't shorting the stock. A furious Samsung shareholder orders his people to find out who it was, convinced they had insider information. Speaking of which, Kang Jin-Hoo and his friend are just trying to process the situation. For a moment, they're in total shock. Then reality sinks in. They realize just how much money they're about to make now that their prediction has come true. The profit margin is even bigger than they imagined, and the two of them celebrate harder than if they just won the lottery. Sometime later, Taikyu finishes the calculations. Their total profit from the stocks is 685 billion. Jin-Hoo notes they were just shy of $1 trillion. As they agreed, Taikyu says half of that profit belongs to Jin-Hoo. The offer is a strange thing to hear. Just a little while ago, Jin-Hoo was an unemployed ex-soldier. Now he has so much money, he has no idea how to spend it. He feels a little guilty taking it, especially since his power almost led them completely astray. But Taikyu insists. It was Jin-Hoo's prediction that made them rich, so a 50-50 split is the only fair outcome. Jin-Hoo reflects that he really does have a true friend, someone who never once tried to cheat him. Still, thinking about how his powers almost failed him, he decides he needs to be more cautious. He has no idea what's coming next. The best move is to keep his abilities a secret. Besides his mom, Taikyu is the only person he can trust. While Taikyu celebrates their windfall, Jin-Hoo feels a pang of guilt for profiting from a national crisis. Taikyu points out that they weren't the ones who caused the devices to be discontinued. Jin-Hoo knows that, but he also knows Samsung's stock plummeted while its foreign rivals saw a huge boost. His friend tells him to just enjoy the win and leave the bigger problems aside. Besides, they have a practical issue. If Taikyu transfers Jin-Hoo's share legally, the taxes will be astronomical, and paying in cash is impossible. There's nowhere to even put it all. Jin-Hoo admits this is a problem he never imagined having. Taikyu wants to reinvest for an even bigger return, but Jin-Hoo warns him that as your capital grows, it gets much harder to make money. Jin-Hoo thinks to himself that he's already earned enough to live well for the rest of his life without a single worry. But is it right to stop now? After all, he's had another vision, one he hasn't shared with his friend yet. Jin-Hoo tells Taikyu he's going to see this through to the end, but he'll understand if Taikyu wants to stop here. Taikyu immediately says he's not stopping. He's with Jin-Hoo all the way. Then, he lays out his plan for their money problem. He's already established his company, OTK, in Delaware in the US. The state offers tax exemptions on donations, which allows them to bypass the Korean government. Taikyu then asks to see the contract he gave Jin-Hoo. He takes the document and rips it to shreds. He says a 50-50 split doesn't make sense anymore. He suggests they renegotiate to 80-20. Jin-Hoo doesn't understand the sudden change. He feels cornered with no real choice in the matter. But to his surprise, Taikyu clarifies he'll take the 20%. The 80% is for Jin-Hoo. Confused, Jin-Hoo asks why he'd suddenly suggest a split like that. Taikyu explains that their dynamic has changed. Before he had the capital and Jin-Hoo had the predictions, but now Jin-Hoo has his own capital to invest, so a 50-50 split would actually be unfair to him. Taikyu says the best investment he can make right now isn't in a company, but in Jin-Hoo himself. He argues that whatever he gives up now is nothing compared to what they can achieve together in the future. Besides, he's already earned enough for a good life. Taikyu is confident that going all in is the right move, because he trusts his friend. He adds that with an 80% share, Jin-Hoo should be the one one running the company's administration. Since he's been studying the subject, he's the ideal person for the job. And with that, Kang Jin-Hoo becomes the CEO of OTK Company. Jin-Hoo feels ashamed for ever having doubted his friend. He realizes now that he was right to trust Taekyu's decisions. With the end of the year approaching, Taekyu asks Jin-Hoo what he did for Christmas last year. Jin-Hoo was stuck shoveling snow in the army. He turns the question back on his friend. Taekyu says he spent it with his mother, figuring she shouldn't be alone on such an important day. Changing the subject, Jin-Hoo tells Taekyu to wire a clean 800 million won to his Korean account. He wants to handle the taxes properly. Taekyu digs out the account info his sister gave him and asks what the money is for. Jin-Hoo says he's heading out to buy a Christmas present for his mom. He walks into a real estate agency, where the agent immediately sizes him up as a college student looking for a cheap rental. But Jin-Hoo clarifies he's not there to rent. He wants to buy a house. The agent is taken aback, warning him that houses in this area can go for up to 1 billion won. Jin-Hoo just points across the street and asks how much that specific house costs. She tells him a property like that runs about 600 million, so Jin-Hoo says he'll take it. Realizing this isn't a joke, the agent offers to check for similar listings. But Jin-Hoo is firm. He doesn't want a similar house. He wants that exact one. The agent has to break it to him that the house isn't for sale. Jin-Hoo asks if the owner might change their mind if he offered a price well above market value. He then pulls out a bag of cash, offering to add 200 million on top. He wants to know if that will be enough. The house belongs to a woman named Kim Mi-ja. Owning it was once her dream, but it quickly soured. The 20-year-old building needed expensive repairs. The commute was long, and its value had plummeted. She was stuck. Then one day, she gets a call. A young man is offering to buy her house for far more than it's worth. The number is so high, Kim Mi-ja nearly has a heart attack. But her first thought isn't relief, it's suspicion. She figures if someone is offering that much, the house must be worth even more than she knows. So she tells the agent she'll think about it. Her husband insists she take the deal immediately, but Kim Mi-ja has other plans. She calls the agent back and tries to negotiate a higher price, demanding a full billion. The agent informs her the client has already walked away and is looking at a cheaper property. Panicked, Kim Mi-ja begs the agent to get him back, desperate not to lose this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A few days later, the agent calls. She says she convinced the buyer to come back and asks if Kim Mi-ja will accept a down payment before he changes his mind again. Kim Mi-ja agrees. The agent then asks if she can vacate the property by Christmas. The woman protests that she has nowhere to go on such short notice. So the agent mentions the buyer is offering an extra 20 million if she's out by December 25th. Suddenly, Kim Mi-ja says she can be out in 24 hours. Back with Jin-Hoo, he's satisfied the deal is done. This was his childhood home, where his family lived when his father was still alive. He knows he overpaid, but he didn't want to wait. The goal was to surprise his mother for Christmas. The real estate agent congratulates him on the purchase. Out of curiosity, she asks why he was so set on that specific property. Jin-Hoo gives her a vague answer, and she gets the hint not to ask any more questions. Later, as he walks through the streets, he sees everyone else out shopping for presents. He looks at a photo on his phone of his complete family. That was the real reason he bought the house, but the agent didn't need to know that. He then calls his mom, telling her he's on his way home. Sometime later, Jin-Hoo tells his mom they're going out for a special dinner, with Taekyu waiting outside to play chauffeur. His mom is curious about their destination, but Jin-Hoo just says it's a surprise. On the way, he gets a call from the freshman, Shin Yu-ri. She gets straight to the point. She wants to know how he knew her phone model was about to be discontinued. He tries to play it off, but she confirms it happened exactly as he predicted. Jin-Hoo cuts the call short, saying he's busy and will get back to her. Then he sees a text from Park Sang-yo asking the same thing. This little phone tip is starting to become a problem, but he has bigger things to deal with right now. The car pulls up in front of a house, and his mother is immediately overcome with emotion. She says they shouldn't stay long, but Jin-Hoo insists they go inside. She protests, saying it's not right to enter a property that isn't hers. Inside, the place is empty. Looking around, she's flooded with memories of the happy times they spent there, but the feeling is bittersweet, knowing the house no longer belongs to them. That's when Jin-Hoo reveals the surprise. He hands her the deed, proving he bought their old home back. Completely overwhelmed, she asks how this was possible. He explains he made some money investing with his friend and wanted to do something for her. She breaks down in tears, thanking him for always taking care of her. Jin-Hoo tells her it's a happy day, no crying allowed. Then he notices Taekyu is also tearing up and tells him to knock it off before he ruins the mood. Later, he explains he made some money, but keeps the details vague. He also breaks the news that he's postponing college to focus on his investments. His mom is not a fan of this plan, warning him not to throw away his education just because he got lucky. Still, she's glad he has a good friend by his side. and Taikyu chimes in, promising to handle any trouble Jinhu gets into. Changing the subject, his mom notes the house needs a lot of work, which is probably why the last owner sold it so quickly. Jinhu assures her it's not a problem. He'll take care of the renovations, and they can move in as soon as it's ready. Taikyu reminds them they have a dinner reservation to get to, so they head out to celebrate. Jinhu reflects that with his father gone, the responsibility of caring for his mother falls to him. He promises to do his best, hoping his dad can finally rest easy. A while later, Jinhu is helping Taikyu move into a new place. They decided that to grow the business, they needed a proper base of operations, so Taikyu bought a bigger house. He clearly didn't skimp on the purchase, insisting it was a necessary expense. Inside, Taikyu claims the first floor for their office, leaving the second floor for Jinhu. After unpacking, Taikyu is already eager to go shopping. Jinhu has to ask if he hasn't bought enough already. Taikyu says that's the wrong question. It's not about what to buy, but seeing the absolute limits of what he can buy. Jinhu suspects this is just a fancy excuse to buy more manga and anime figures. Sometime later, they arrive at a massive department store. A salesman greets them, but Taikyu is just browsing until he spots an enormous TV. The salesman explains it's a brand new Samsung model, and Taikyu immediately says he'll take it. There's just one problem. It's a display piece and not for sale. Taikyu doesn't care. He insists on buying it, and then proceeds to pick out a whole range of other high-end electronics and appliances. Stunned, the salesman asks if he'll be paying in installments. Taikyu says no, he's paying in cash. He explains he's just returning a favor to Samsung, so he'll be taking at least one top-of-the-line product from every category. After their shopping spree, Jinhu suggests his friend might have gone a little overboard, but Taikyu just says he's repaying Samsung for their recent earnings. Back home, Taikyu gets to work redecorating the entire house, creating luxurious leisure spaces and even remodeling the bedrooms. He announces he's also set up a proper office. Once it's ready, it'll be their base for more profitable negotiations. Then he brings up one more piece of business, the company registration document they signed. Jinhu looks at the contract, and it finally sinks in. He and Taikyu are now officially investor partners. They hold their first meeting in the new space. Jinhu says there's no longer any doubt about his ability, but he's identified some serious gaps. He can't control when the eagle appears, so he can't just predict the future whenever he wants. The visions he does get are also vague and limited. He gives an example. If he saw that a piece of land was going to increase in value, he'd have no idea if it would happen in a week or a year. On top of that, there's the risk that their actions could change the future, possibly making things even worse. Taikyu agrees it's a problem. Natural disasters are one thing, but human actions are a completely different variable. He points out that their Samsung play could have easily gone sideways. The company could have made even riskier moves, and they might have gotten their money, but only after waiting years for a resolution. Using Jinhu's land example, he adds that if a plot of land they invested in became too valuable, the entire development project could be cancelled or moved. Taikyu concludes that their only option is to work hard and keep moving forward. Jinhu says the power feels like a sixth sense. He can't control it, but he can feel it flowing through him. Taikyu figures they'll just have to wait for the eagle's next vision. Jinhu thinks to himself that the ideal scenario would be to predict another large-scale crisis, just like the smartphone discontinuation. But then he realizes an event like that would completely devastate the country's financial sector, with side effects that could last for years. As he's thinking, a news report catches his eye, and he calls Taikyu over. The report says Samsung is investigating who bought all the put options right before the L6 was discontinued. The company suspects a foreign entity knew what was coming, or worse, that they were responsible for the defects in the first place. The two of them realize they're now directly in Samsung's crosshairs. They sit down to talk. Jinhu says they've been treating this like a game, but they can't afford to raise any more suspicion. Taikyu argues they never imagined it would get this big, and more importantly, they didn't do anything illegal. But Jinhu points out that it's all about perception. You're a genius when you make money while everyone else is, but you're a villain when you profit from others' losses. Taikyu still insists it wasn't illegal. Even so, Jinhu says no one wins the lottery twice without raising eyebrows. He has to think carefully about their next move. Short-term options are risky and attract a lot of attention. Long-term investments have a better chance of success, but the timing and returns are uncertain. The Korean and global markets have been hit by crises before, but they've learned from their mistakes and evolved. So unless another massive financial shock hits, the smart play is to build long-term investments. To do that, Jinhu wants to transform their company, OTK, into a holding company and start acquiring stakes in other businesses. Jinhu suggests a new strategy: buy into companies with high growth potential, then take control of the ones that perform best. The goal is to double their $600 670 million in just 3 years. Taikyu likes the sound of it, even thinking the task doesn't seem too difficult. Jinhu plans to analyze companies online and just wait for his eagle to appear. But after hours of staring at a screen with 0 results, he starts to think the whole thing was a massive waste of time. His friend shows up with a stack of papers, figuring it's less tiring to read printouts than to burn your eyes out on a monitor. The next morning, Taikyu wakes up to find Jinhu surrounded by those same documents, having pulled an all-nighter. But Jinhu reports that his eagle never showed. Worse, he's realized they're on the completely wrong path. The overall plan is fine, he explains, but their method is flawed. The way they're buying stakes just isn't getting the results they need. For huge billion-dollar companies, profit is a matter of time. But for smaller companies, the stock price is a total crapshoot. It either skyrockets or plummets. Jinhu concludes that as their fund grows, it's only going to get harder to manage. Taikyu suggests investing in foreign markets, maybe even big tech companies. Jinhu agrees it's a good idea, but points out that they need contacts or they'll have to hire an expert. No matter which business model they choose, they need a good team and solid information. Just then, Taikyu's phone rings. On the other end, his sister is furious, demanding to know why his house is completely empty. Taikyu calmly explains that he moved and gives her the new address. Jinhu remarks that the timing couldn't be more perfect, since he wanted to speak with Oh Hyun-ju anyway, but she warns him that his sister is livid and this won't be a friendly visit. A little while later, Oh Hyun-ju arrives. Still angry, she looks around and asks who owns the place. Taikyu tells her it's his, and that he'll be living here from now on. That sets her off. She wants to know where the billions he had in his account went. Taikyu asks if that's the real reason she came back to Korea. Oh Hyun-ju explains that the recent Samsung incident shook the entire Korean market. But there's a rumor going around about a certain entity that bought a massive number of put options right before the news broke. As it turns out, this entity has an account at Golden Gate where she works. The trade was so huge, it massively boosted the Asian branch's balance sheet. She already knew that shell companies often use random letter combinations, so she had a hunch OTK was one of them. Then, a senior colleague connected the dots, mentioning he'd processed a transfer of over 10 billion won to a foreign account. Since Oh Hyun-ju was the one who opened the account for her brother, she had the authority to check his transaction history. To her horror, she discovered he'd spent every last one on Samsung put options. She demands to know what on earth he's been doing. Jinhu immediately realizes she knows everything. Taikyu, however, just admits he bought the options and asks what he did wrong. Oh Hyun-ju tells him that because of his trade, the Financial Supervisory Service has formally requested documents from Golden Gate. They want OTK's transaction records and details on its owners. She says they're lucky for now because Golden Gate doesn't have that information, only the country where the company was established. But that refusal to cooperate only works on domestic institutions. Sooner or later, the truth will come out. She lays out the situation. OTK is under suspicion of using insider information, or even being directly involved in the accidents with Samsung's phones. For publicly traded companies, any relevant information has to be disclosed to all investors. Trading on information that isn't public is illegal. If OTK's profits are deemed illicit, the government will confiscate the money and they could both end up in prison. Oh Hyun-ju points out that without concrete proof, they can't be charged. Still, she wants to know exactly how they pulled this off. Jinhu admits he was the one who passed on the information, which immediately raises the next question. How did he know? He hesitates, and that just makes Oh Hyun-ju angrier. She lays it out for them. If they don't give her a straight story, they could both go to jail, and she could get dragged down with them. So Jinhu gives her the official version. As soon as news broke about the L6 smartphones exploding, he did a deep analysis. He concluded it had to be a manufacturing defect, one serious enough to get the entire model discontinued. After sharing his findings with Taikyu, his friend trusted the analysis and decided to bet on the prediction. They bought put options based on that, with no insider trading or third-party involvement. Oh Hyun-ju isn't an idiot. She knows they're holding something back, but for now, she decides their story is good enough. She brings up a past scandal, the Sweet Bank case, where a group manipulated stock prices to profit from the crash. Those guys made about 50 billion won, but these two kids, working out of a single room, made more than 10 times that amount. She explains that the Sweet Bank incident led to much stricter regulations, but what they did with Samsung is completely unprecedented. Even with protective hedges, a firm like Golden Gate lost $20 million, all because two investors used a faulty product to make billions. If OTK were a Korean company, she says, the three of them would be in court right now. But since the company is established overseas, they're in the clear. She looks at them. They made a huge mess with 13 billion. What? She asks. Do they plan to do now that they have so much more? Taikyu explains the new company structure. Jinhu owns 80% and he took the other 20. His sister is floored. She asks why on earth he would give Jinhu the majority stake. Taikyu's logic is simple. Jinhu brought the information and suggested the play. He just put up the capital. Oh Hyun-ju calls the arrangement ridiculous. In the financial world, the person with the capital takes the biggest cut. She tells her brother he basically just gave the company away. But Taikyu knew exactly what he was doing. He needed Jinhu to manage the company so they could continue investing together. His sister isn't convinced. She calls their last investment a lucky break and asks if they really intend to continue with this madness. Taikyu confirms he has a plan, but he needs her help to make it work. To sweeten the deal, he offers her 3% of his shares, the equivalent of 20 billion won. Jinhu chimes in, saying he understands her concern about him running things, but he promises he isn't reckless. He also points out that she wouldn't have to quit her current job. In fact, she could use her position to bring them valuable information. Oh Hyunju's response is to send Jinhu out to buy her a coffee. As he leaves, Jinhu thinks about her. Oh Hyunju has been a genius her whole life, getting into a top economics program with the best scores. She landed a job at one of the world's most exclusive investment banks and quickly became a team leader. Her brother, meanwhile, spent half his life slacking off before accidentally becoming a billionaire. Jinhu can see why accepting a job offer from him would be a tough pill to swallow. When he gets back, Taikyu tells him the good news. His sister is in. Then, Oh Hyunju sends her brother out to buy her cigarettes. She wants to talk to Jinhu alone. Jinhu thanks her for joining them, but she's practical. The offer was too tempting to refuse, and she knew if she said no, they'd just find someone else. Besides, she admits, this is the first time her brother has ever been serious about anything that wasn't one of his otaku hobbies. She still thinks their investment was reckless, but she has to respect the results. She confesses she'd never have the guts for a move that risky. She expects that kind of behavior from her brother, but she was surprised to see it from Jinhu. Jinhu explains that he spent most of his life with no money, so he was willing to risk everything for a chance at a real score. He figures all the world's greatest investors had to take a huge risk at some point, and this was his. Oh Hyunju reminds him that the financial world is full of experts, but it's also full of crooks. After 10 years in the business, even she doesn't know everything. Jinhu gets it. She's worried about her brother. He promises her that no matter what happens, he won't let Taikyu get into trouble. Hearing that seems to put her mind at ease. She tells him she's counting on him to look after her brother and the company. And just like that, OTK Company has 3 partners. Jinhu holds 80%, Taikyu has 17%, and Oh Hyunju is on board with 3%. Sometime later, Jinhu lays out his next move. He'll open a separate investment firm, leaving OTK to function as a holding company. Oh Hyunju thinks it's a solid plan, but wonders how Jinhu will manage it all. She assures him there's no rush. She's there to help. First on the list is finding a trustworthy person to run the new company, someone who can act as his right hand, and he asks for her help finding the right candidate. She comes back with some high-quality intel, an internal report from Golden Gate. Since OTK is a major client, they have the legal right to request this kind of information. Oh Hyunju has basically handed him a menu of the market's biggest upcoming trends for him to choose from. Just then, Jinhu gets a call from Park Sang-yeop, inviting him to dinner. When they meet, Jinhu immediately clocks the brand new suit. His friend must be dressed up for a special occasion. Sang-yeop announces that dinner's on him, which prompts Jinhu to ask if he finally paid off his debts. Not only did he pay them off, but he has Jinhu to thank. That tip about Samsung saved him. Jinhu asks if he also bought put options on Samsung electronics. Sang-yeop says no. He never actually believed the L6 would be discontinued. Instead, he reasoned the real problem was the battery, which meant the battery manufacturers would take the hit. So he took the 700,000 won he had left after paying his monthly bills and bought put options on Samsung's insurer. The result? A cool 150 million won. Jinhu is floored. Even with his future knowledge, he wasn't completely sure how things would play out, but he realizes Park Sang-yeop is a natural investor. He saw an opportunity, didn't hesitate, and risked everything he had to become a millionaire. Sang-yeop explains that after clearing his debts, the first thing he did was buy this suit. He also knows Jinhu and his partner made a killing. A friend in the finance sector told him some foreign corporation swept up all the Samsung call options. After their last conversation, Sang-yeop had no doubt who was behind it. He adds that his friend suspected the company buying the put options was Japanese, since its name was OTK Company. It didn't take much for Sang-yeop to connect all the dots. Jinhu asks if that's the real reason for this dinner. Sang-yeop says yes. Jinhu pulled him out of a hole, and he wanted to properly thank him. Jinhu just asks him to keep it quiet. He's not looking to make headlines. Sang-yeop promises, but then immediately asks where they're investing next. Jinhu plays it cool, saying he's not sure he'll even continue. But Sang-yeop isn't buying it. He knows they're setting up a new corporation, and he wants in. He makes his pitch. Jinhu needs someone who's good with numbers and analysis to win in this market, and he's the guy. He claims he's studied the market more than anyone, and that nobody can do what he does. Besides, he trusts Jinhu's instincts and has already decided to work for him. The suit, it turns out, wasn't just for dinner. It finally clicked fix for Jinhu. This isn't a thank you dinner, it's a job interview. Sang Yeop lays it out plainly. Jinhu is the CEO, so the decision is his. Jinhu thinks it over. His current team is good, but they won't be enough for what's coming. He needs someone to be his hands and feet, someone who gets his vision. He asks Sang Yeop if he's up for that. Despite being older, Sang Yeop says he has no problem working for Jinhu and is more than capable of meeting his needs. Jinhu reflects that a CEO's most important skill is embracing talented people, and right now, Park Sang Yeop is the most qualified person he knows. With that, Jinhu officially hires his new employee. With Park Sang Yeop officially on board, he asks if the team is really just the two of them. Taekyu clarifies that his older sister is also part of the operation. She's a team leader at Golden Gate's Asian branch and is handling all their legal and administrative work. Changing the subject, Jinhu asks how Sang Yeop's old company took his resignation. He says they immediately tried to keep him with a pay raise, which only made him regret not quitting sooner. But now he's focused on riding the wave of the next big industry reorganization. Yeop explains his thinking. When Apple launched the first iPhone, other companies dismissed it. By doing so, many of them were completely replaced because the iPhone offered multiple devices in one. He believes ordinary people only recognize genius after the world has already changed. He has no intention of being an ordinary person. He wants to be there right as the change is happening. Jinhu realizes Park Sang Yeop is a different breed of thinker. He definitely made the right call bringing him in. Taegyu agrees and proposes a toast to the future of their new team. The next morning, Jinhu wakes up at home with a killer hangover. After pulling himself together, his first thought is about his next investment. Just then, Taekyu wakes up too, annoyed by a phone alarm. He sees someone named Shin-Yu Ri is calling his friend and lets him know. Jinhu answers, and the freshman on the other end asks why he never called her back like he promised. He apologizes, claiming he was busy. Shin-Yu Ri is surprisingly understanding. She just invites him to lunch instead. Jinhu remembers that she's the reason he got the vision about Samsung. He figures the least he can do is buy her a meal to say thanks. She's thrilled he accepted, and they make plans to meet. Taekyu immediately wants to know who this girl is. Jinhu tells him she's just a freshman from his university, which prompts Taekyu to ask if they're dating. The protagonist says no, but his friend reminds him he has a mission to focus on. He can't afford any distractions. Jinhu says he understands, but as he thinks about paying for lunch, he realizes he's completely out of cash. He spent everything, and his new card hasn't arrived yet. So, a little embarrassed, he has to ask his friend for a loan. Jinhu can't help but think about the irony. Billions in offshore accounts, and he can't even buy a meal. Taekyu lends him the money, but tells him to be smart. A while later, Jinhu meets the freshman at the restaurant. She asks if he had any trouble finding his way to this neighborhood. Jinhu mentions he actually just moved to Gangnam. This makes her light up, saying they can see each other more often now that they live so close. He finds her attitude a little strange. Even his ex-girlfriend wasn't this friendly when they were together. He starts to wonder why this girl is being so nice to him. When the bill arrives, Shin-Yu Ri insists on paying since she was the one who invited him. She tells Jinhu he can get it next time. She says she just didn't want to eat alone and was happy to have the company. She then points to her apartment building, which is clearly in a prime location. She tells Jinhu he should visit sometime. The building has a great view of the Han River and a really nice lounge area. The two of them walk over to her complex, and Jinhu notes that his own place doesn't have a walking area nearly this large. Shin-Yu Ri explains that while she has her own apartment, she lives alone since her parents work overseas. Hearing this, Jinhu can only think one thing. This girl comes from money. Not just anyone can afford property in a location like this. In the middle of their walk, Shin-Yu Ri says something has been on her mind since they last met. Then she asks him, point blank, how did he know Samsung was going to discontinue the L6 phones? Jinhu's mind immediately flashes to Taegyu's warning to be careful. He needs to think very carefully before he answers. Jinhu explains that when the phone launched, so many people reported problems that he just guessed it would be discontinued. Shin-Yu Ri admits she thought he had inside information, since he sounded so certain at the time. He plays it cool, saying there's no way he could have known for sure. It was just a hunch. She wishes she'd known about the issues sooner, as it would have saved her a lot of trouble. On top of that, her mom is upset because her Samsung stock took a nosedive after the news broke. Even with the recent recovery, she's still in the red. So Shin-Yu Ri asks for his advice. Should her mom sell the shares now, or wait it out? Jinhu tells her to hold. He's confident Samsung will bounce back with their next smartphone. He points out that most Koreans, including her, chose to exchange the faulty device for a new one, instead of taking a refund.
Okay guys, I have just completed my first remote starter prototype for the Refinement T07571. I've incorporated this generator controller over here to my Furman 5-fuel generator. What this is going to do is this will auto start my generator for me under certain conditions. So right now I have it set up to auto start upon power failure. If the power goes out, this generator will turn on and start running automatically. It will also turn on using this remote control over here. So I press the on button to turn it on. The A would be on and B would be off in this case, but there could be different combinations. I will be demonstrating that as well, and it will also turn on using a schedule start. So let's say I want my generator to turn on once a day at a certain time, or once a month, or once a week, or several times a day. I can have all that happen from getting this generator incorporated with the Furman generator. Also, you're probably thinking, well, what about the choke? I took care of that. I have an automated choke system over here using an actuator. It will automatically turn the choke to the start position and then back to the run position once it has detected the generator has started. All this without me being anywhere near it. I could start this thing from a mile away. There's actually a way that I can start it over the internet. So let's say you have a cabin somewhere, and you want to start your generator to heat up the place, whatever it is. Before you get there, you can definitely do that with a generator controller like this one. At some point, I will probably set up a plug-and-play kit for the Furman, since I've done all the legwork. By the way, guys, I am a licensed electrician with a lot of experience in industrial controls and other. So, all right, here we go. I'll show you a quick demo. Actually, I just realized to connect the starter wire, I disconnected it temporarily. Let me see if I can reach this back here. Sorry, guys, give me a second. Connect the ground.
The first floor is the mission hall. The second floor has training rooms. 4 is for special training. You don't need to report missions. You can even delegate tasks to others.
Truly worthy of the Night Watch. Its internal structure is incredibly well developed, like a massive, intricate machine. Once it starts operating at full capacity, the energy it unleashes is unimaginable.
You got the gist of it now. I have my own things to do. I won't keep you company any longer.
Alright, thanks for your trouble today. I'll buy you coffee another day.
I'd run into Suli at the Night Watch. We all had to apply through the school to get in. What's he doing here? Hey, Suli, didn't you take a leave of absence? How did you end up here? It's been a while, but I feel like Suli has changed a lot. He's become more confident, more composed, and even more handsome.
I was just bored at home, so I came out for a stroll.
Are you kidding me? This is the Night Patrol Division. Ordinary people can't just walk in. Do you think you're a night patroller? Stop fooling yourself. Hey, Suli, don't tell me you're here looking for a job.
A job? You could say that.
With Suli's abilities, he'd probably only be fit for jobs like janitor or mover at the Night Patrol Division. How pitiful.
Suli, haven't you ever thought about going back to school? The college entrance exam is coming up soon. Start preparing early.
I've already decided to drop out. I don't need to worry about the college entrance exam.
Drop out? Why would you choose to drop out? Suli, don't do anything stupid. Even if your martial arts grades are average, you should at least try the exam first.
You don't understand. For me, there's really no need to take the college entrance exam.
Suli has been slacking off at home for so long. With his skills, he wouldn't get into a good university anyway. For him, taking the exam or not makes no difference. Not taking the exam is fine. If you ever run into trouble in the future, just come find me. We're classmates, after all. I'll help if I can.
That's our sister Lu Yu for you.
Exactly. Only one who would care so much about an ordinary classmate.
Thanks for your kindness, but I don't think I'll be needing it.
Don't be so polite with me, okay? I may not be able to offer much help, but financial support is no problem.
Lu Yue, thank you for your kindness. I really don't need it right now. Actually, if you ever run into trouble in the future, you can come find me.
Come find you? No way. Just an ordinary person.
I originally wanted to persuade Suli some more, but then I remembered what he just said. You're on your own. So ungrateful.
Throwing kindness back in our faces.
Sigh. So ungrateful.
Given the situation, even if he told them he'd become a night patroller, they wouldn't believe him. They'd just think he was bragging.
I've been accompanying you all day. Aren't you going to buy me a coffee?
Good evening. What would you like to drink?
You go first.
Okay, you said it. I'm going to make you pay big time today. 2 flowing cloud blue coffees, 1 caramel pudding, 1 milfew mousse cake, 1.
Damn, this girl is really taking me for a sucker. Well, I still have some money. Place isn't exactly cheap, but it's not cheap either, especially after ordering so much.
Thanks. Tastes good. Hey, Suli, weren't you unwilling to join the Night Patrol Division before? What made you change your mind so suddenly?
To hunt aberrant beasts more easily, of course.
Yeah. At least you're honest. If any other Night Watch member said that, she wouldn't believe it. But coming from you, Suli, yeah, that's totally your style. The Night Watch might seem glamorous, but it's actually cutthroat and dangerous. The mortality rate is sky high. With your talent, it's really not worth the risk.
What about you? Afraid of the dangers, joining the Night Watch?
Well, I'm different. My dad assigned 5 Dow level experts to protect me in secret, so I won't be in any danger.
Damn, I almost forgot this girl has a terrifying background. Having bodyguards is normal for her. So enviable. Point of talent and hard work. A good birth is way better. Only a cheater like me can compare.
Doing later? Heading straight home?
It's still early. I plan to wander around the city, see if I can run into any aberrant beasts or troublemakers.
Wow, you're not even in the Night Watch yet, and you're already grinding this hard? Comfortable. By the way, get to the Night Watch early tomorrow, so we can process your onboarding, and get you certified, and all that.
Okay, got it.
What are you doing?
Oh, I just saw a bit of grease on your face.
Thanks. I can handle it myself. See you at the Night Watch tomorrow.
Was my move really that scary?
Beep 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 beep. Alert, alert. A peak golden core aberrant beast, the 2-headed demon hound, has been detected. Given the host's current strength, while escape is possible, this system advises caution. Focus on fleeing. After all, the host only has 1 measly life.
Getting more and more disrespectful. What do you mean, 1 measly life? If this system could manifest physically, I'd smash its glasses for sure. This system is glitching even worse this time. The identified beast is just a rabid ordinary pet dog, not even an aberrant beast. It must be a dog with rabies. Otherwise it wouldn't have charged at me on sight.
Beep beep beep. The 2-headed demon hound has been confirmed dead. This is impossible. How can the host have Stitch?
Seeing that the reward this time is actually a cultivation method. Given my current strength, the cultivation method I've been using is truly garbage. Time for a new one.
Good. That damn rabid dog is finally dead.
That dog bit anyone it saw, and quite a few people ended up in the hospital.
We could never catch it in our traps, but luckily, today it met its match.
Weiji, what brings you here?
I just went to see old Ban, and since I was in the area, passing by here, I thought I'd come check on you. Waited so long, I'm parched. I'm telling you, Lao Su, the sword technique you taught me is incredible. In a pure swordplay match, no student in the school is my match.
Wei's spastic behavior is a perfect match for my own spastic system. 18-year-old man, yet he's still this childish.
Everyone who couldn't beat me before, they all fell to my sword today. Teacher praised me as a sword prodigy. The girls even fight to invite me over after class for private lessons. Your sword skills are so good. If you showed them off a little, you'd have girls falling all over you.
Oh, cut it out. Women, they only slow down your draw. Of course, rich ladies are the exception. You went through all the trouble to come here just to brag about your achievements? If that's the case, you're just bored out of your mind.
It's not. That's all just trivial stuff. I came to see you today for real business.
Whoa, Wei, what are you doing? To be my sugar daddy?
Money my dad rewarded me with. Guidance, I never could have mastered this sword technique. You deserve this money.
Ah, but I don't need it.
Stop being polite. Just take it. No matter how strong you are, you need to eat well to hunt beasts.
Wait, don't be like this. I really don't need your money. I've already joined the Night Watch. You think I'm short on cash?
What did you just say? The Night Watch already? You bastard. We agreed to slack off together, but you went and secretly became a Night Watcher. I was acting like a clown just now. Arg. You're a real piece of work. Suli has betrayed our sacred pact, the original duo of swordsmen. Now it's just me, all alone.
Can you stop with this disgusting act? This guy not becoming an actor is a real waste of talent.
Wait, last time they invited you to join, didn't you refuse? How come you're in the Night Watch now?
Ah, what could I do? Watch director came to see me again and again. If I kept refusing, it would have been rude.
Joining the Night Watch is one thing, but the director personally sought you out 3 times. Who do you think you are?
Hey, leaving already? Won't you stay a bit longer? I'll make you some noodles.
Your own damn noodles. I'm going to have steak. Eat your crappy instant noodles all by yourself.
Nice. Successfully pissed off that jerk. Xuanjue, let me see what you've got. My strength has improved again. New cultivation technique, the training speed is indeed fast. Just last night alone was worth a whole week of hard training before. Morning.
Huh? Oh, morning.
With this girl today. Why does she seem so off? Something feels off.
Let's go. I'll take you to get processed right now. For onboarding and identity verification.
Why are the missions so much harder this month? All tier 3 monsters and tough organizations.
We're late. The easy ones are already gone.
They disappear within a day.
You're new here. To get stronger, you gotta hustle.
Looks like Mu Qingning was right yesterday. The Night Patrol Department is really competitive. No wonder Night Patrol officers are so strong. Only the elite among elites can stay.
Merit points can be seen as a special currency that circulates only within the Night Patrol Department. They're mainly used to exchange for various to boost your strength, martial arts, money, positions, honors, techniques, weapons, intel, facility access, and so on. In short, as long as the Night Patrol Department has it, most things can be exchanged with merit points. But merit points aren't so easy to get. The most common way is to carry out various missions.
How much money can one merit point exchange for?
I've been talking for so long, and you ask such a boring question, given how valuable merit points are. Unless you're crazy, who would use them to exchange for useless worldly money?
I'm just curious.
Your onboarding process is complete. You are now a glorious and great Night Patrol officer. Here's your personal ID. Then go to the logistics department to get your onboarding benefits.
Thanks.
Want me to take you to the logistics department?
No, I've already bothered Mu Qingning enough. This small thing isn't necessary. After all, he doesn't want to be a fool again.
Alright, then, I'll go first. Contact me if you need anything.
Newbie. Holy crap. This item's grade. A grade item. The corresponding position is Deputy Director, within the Night Patrol Department. Besides exchanging with merit points, only Deputy Directors can get benefit items of this grade for free. What's this guy's background? He gets an A-grade item right after joining. Even Mu Qingning, who parachuted in, didn't get a B-grade item.
Hello, these are your benefits for joining the Night Patrol Department. It includes a bank card with over 100 million, a mission prompt device, 2 special communication tools, a set of A-grade Night Patrol Department exclusive armor, with selectable styles, 7 sets of daily uniforms. Besides that, there's a small villa in N City. Enough for many martial artists to strive for a lifetime.
There's even a standalone villa later. With benefits like this, who wouldn't be dazzled? Don't underestimate this storage bracelet. It costs tens of millions. This is the Night Patrol Department. Extravagant.
All activated. Congratulations on officially becoming a member of the Night Patrol Division.
This mission is pretty simple. Patrolling is no different from just wandering around. Maybe I'll even trigger a couple of system misjudgment missions. Heh heh heh. This candied hawthorn is good. This crispy chicken leg is good too, and this. 10 merit points. Looks like this beast is no pushover.
Warning, warning, ancient variant offspring, black spirit shadow armor. Possibility of resisting. Please evacuate this area immediately, otherwise there will be mortal danger.
Damn it. Damn system, you're really screwing with me.
Show things to me. Oh, the phone. If I know you know, that's how you fall. And I'm not even hitting me. Well, I should be another time. I'll just let you fall.